The pattern is drawn on paper first, then transferred to the thermoplastic. Generally, the forearm is positioned at about 45 degrees pronation while the forearm cuff is being formed. This is important because the contour of the forearm changes with pronation and supination. If the splint is formed with the forearm at about 45 degrees, forearm rotation during functional activities is more comfortable. The thermoplastic is cut out and formed in the same way that the humeral cuff was. It's heated, dried, and gently wrapped around the forearm. The proximal and distal edges are flared for comfort. The hinge is located at the mid-lateral aspect of the arm. The axis of the hinge is centered at the elbow and, when possible, tested by gently flexing and extending the arm. The location of the hinge is marked. Holes are drilled or punched. The hinge is attached to the thermoplastic by 4 binding head screws with thumb nuts. These are provided with the Phoenix hinge. The splint is placed on the arm and straps are added. If the splint is to be used as a static splint, the 2 stops are located to hold the elbow in the desired position. Later, this position may be modified by simply relocating the stops. If limited motion is desired, the 2 stops are located at the extremes of flexion and extension to be allowed. If motion is to be limited in only one direction, the second stop may be removed. In the second splint design, the hinge is used with the same humeral cuff, but the distal component of this splint is a circumferential wrist splint. This design is useful when it's necessary to control forearm rotation. A paper pattern for the circumferential wrist splint is made by first cutting a thumb hole. The paper is folded along the distal palmar crease, then it's wrapped around the hand and forearm and marked where edges meet. The pattern is trimmed, checked, then traced on 1/16 inch thermoplastic. The area for the thumb hole is heated for cutting. As the thermoplastic is cut, care is taken to make round corners and smooth edges. Tube stockinette is placed on the hand. The distal ulna and radial styloid are covered with adhesive back foam to create additional contour and padding over these bony prominences. The material is heated, dried, then gently placed around the hand. The edges overlap and lightly adhere so that they'll easily pop apart later. The distal edge is rolled just proximal to the distal flexion crease. Care is taken to roll the edges at the thumb hole and to lift the material away from the radial aspect of the wrist. When it is cool, the edges are popped apart and the splint is removed. The adhesive back foam is placed inside the splint. Straps are attached with adhesive backed Velcro.